Hello everyone, this is part 27 of What If Naruto was in Rosario Vampire, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The pain was sharp and sudden. Instinctively she tried to push him away, but he didn't seem to even notice. His mouth was latched on and she could feel him sucking out her blood. Stop it. She tried punching, tried kicking, but he wouldn't let her go. She felt her strength begin to fade as his teeth remained latched on. Her arms felt heavy, she let them drop to her sides. She was beginning to feel cold. This is it. Then without warning he released her. He pulled back his mouth and let go of his GS. She dropped wordlessly to the ground. Staring up she could see his face was flushed and he looked like he was in ecstasy. Unbelievable, he seemed to mutter to himself. Even better than Hinata's ramen. She watched as he licked his lips to get the last traces of her blood. For a moment he just stood there seeming to be lost in the afterglow. Then he glanced down and deemed to notice her again. You have some really good tasting blood. She felt drained and could barely move. You drank my blood. She whispered. Yeah, and I took a little more than I should have. Sorry about that, but this was my first time. He reached down with one hand and cupped her chin. She was surprised that his touch seemed gentle. I'll be more careful next time. Next time. He smiled at her, displaying his bluest fangs and teeth. Right now Tayuya, you have two choices. I was sent here to K5 enemy ninja. Saken, Akon, Kidomaru, Jirobo, and you. Now I'm going to K5 before I go home again. I wouldn't want the Hokage to think I'm lazy or anything. The only question is who'll be the fifth. The easiest thing would be for me to have another drink and finish you off. He tilted his head and stroked her cheek with one finger. But it would be a real shame for me to never have your blood again. So I'll give you a choice. Do you want to be a corpse or a servant? He continued to look at her with that bloody smile of his, and she realized he was waiting on an answer. I want to Fing live. I'll serve you, Naruto-sama. He laughed. Glad to hear it, and you don't need to be so formal, just plain Naruto is fine. And if you don't do anything stupid, like try to betray me, I'll put you on my friends list. He turned away from her and looked south. He seemed to sniff the breeze. Now I've two candidates to fill your spot. I want you to wait right here for me, please don't try and run away. It'll really annoy me if I have to track you down again. I'll be back soon, this shouldn't take too long. He leapt away and was gone. She just sat there leaning against a tree. She didn't think she could even stand, let alone try and run. Not that I would bother, she thought. I'm sure he would put my head on a platter too. She had effectively gone from being Orochimaru's property to being Naruto's. Her one small consolation was that since he seemed to like her blood so much, she might actually be safer with him than she ever was with Orochimaru. Well, at the very thing least I'll get to live above ground for a while. XXXXXXXXXXX. As he went south he changed his form to that of a half Yukai Kitsune. He would be limited to only 3 taels worth of chakra and could not hold the cloak for anywhere near as long. But now he would be able to use jutsus again. He counted that as worth the trade-off. He went a couple of miles and came to a halt. He sniffed the air again and growled. His sense of smell was not quite as good, but still good enough. So are you two finally going to show yourselves or what? He shouted. For a minute there was no response and he thought they would remain hidden. But at last 2 figures came out of the woods. They both had black robes with red clouds. One was short and blocky with a bandana covering most of his face. The other was tall and lithe with long flowing blonde hair. Very good, the blocky one said. How long have you known? I picked up your scents about an hour after I left the village. So why didn't you do anything? Yeah. The effeminate looking one asked. Naruto shrugged. So long as you didn't attack me I really didn't see a reason to. Very sensible, the short one growled. So I am guessing you're Sasori and you're Deidara. Am I right? How could you know who we are? Sasori demanded. Our identities are carefully guarded secrets. I know because Itachi told me all of your secrets. I guess they weren't carefully guarded enough. Just how much do you know about our organization and its members? And is the information yours alone or does Konoha know as well? Naruto merely smiled. Now that would be telling. Hidden behind the bandana, Sasori's jaw opened and he fired off several projectiles. They landed all around Naruto and exploded on impact, filling the air around him with a foul-smelling blue smoke. Naruto gasped and collapsed. From out of his body, Sasori reached out with a large metal tail. He scooped up Naruto's unconscious form and brought him over. Yeah, how do you think he knew about us? I have no idea, Sasori admitted. Before we extract the QB from him, he will be interrogated. I doubt it could have been through Konoha's spy network. I have an agent on their council and he would have informed me. Naruto's eyes suddenly popped open and he grinned as his body was surrounded by his demonic aura. Really? I didn't know that. He grabbed the metal tail and sped it apart with ease. And you wonder how your secrets get out. How? Despite the size of his body, Sasori dodged away easily. Deidara leapt away in the opposite direction. My poisons never fail. Naruto laughed and began to run through hand signs. Alright, I'll share a secret with you. I'm immune to poisons. Kamikaze no Jutsu. It was the most powerful wind-based jutsu in Yukari's book, and he eagerly poured as much of his chakra into it as he could. It was an area attack jutsu, and as he watched the hurricane force winds began to tear apart the trees and landscape in front of his eyes. Take this, yeah. A pair of clay birds slammed into Naruto's back and exploded. When the smoke cleared, the chakra cloak was still in place and looked unaffected. Is this some sort of ultimate defense? Of all the Jinchuriki they had dealt with, the Kyuubi was easily the one they knew the least about. For most of the time he had either been too young to use his power or hidden away. Since his return they'd received reports, but all they'd really learned was that the Kyuubi liked to play with fire. Deidara shoved his hand into a case filled with clay. The mouth in the hand began to chew the clay. With the jutsu complete, the landscape in front of his eyes was utterly flattened. There was nothing but stumps and debris. And the bits and pieces of puppets. XXXXXXXXXXX. Naruto landed in front of a chunk of Sasori's main body. The head had somehow come through completely intact and looked like a teenage boy with red hair. The end had a cut about a third of the way through. It's still attached to a chest that was mostly gone, along with both arms. In the middle of the chest was a cylinder that had been cut neatly in half. The blood and human tissue it had contained was smeared all over the ground. You actually survived being right in front of my jutsu. I'm impressed, Naruto told him. No, Sasori spoke calmly with a young man's voice. You've killed me. The part of my original body that allowed me to use chakra has been destroyed. I can only survive a few minutes without it. Naruto merely shrugged. That's what you get for coming after me. If you'd left me alone, I'd have never bothered any of you. That was never a possibility, Sasori informed him. We have captured 8 of the Biju and now only you remain. Akatsuki will never rest until they have taken you as well. Then I'll kill every last one of them, Naruto said coldly. I wonder, Sasori said. You truly are impressive. To have killed Itachi, Kisame, and myself is no small feat. But you will be no match for our leader. I'll deal with pain too if I need to. Sasori looked very surprised. You really do know many of our secrets, don't you? How? Naruto looked at him. If I tell you, will you tell me who the traitor on the council is? Very well. Naruto shrugged again. Men could tell no secrets. Itachi betrayed all of you. Before he told me everything he knew about Akatsuki, including all your identities and abilities. I see. I am very disappointed. I thought much more highly of him. People have a way of disappointing sometimes. Now will you tell me what I want to know? Yes, his name is. Hearing the name, Naruto grinned. Oh, this is too good. After speaking the name, Sasori seemed to wind down and come to a stop. As Naruto stood there, 10 clay birds flew into him and exploded. As before, when the smoke cleared, Naruto was still unaffected. He looked up to see Deidara riding the back of a clay bird about the size of a horse. I'll let you run away, Naruto called out to him. I needed to K5 and now I have. Go back to Akatsuki and tell them to stay away from me. Tell them that if they keep coming after me, I'll K them all. Yeah, think I'll let you get away with King Master Sasori. What I think is that there's not a damn thing you and your stupid little figurines can do to me. Yeah, we'll see about that. He stuffed a hand into his case again and let it eat all the clay that was left. At last the mouth in his hand spat out a plump-looking bird. He tossed it into the air. As it began to plummet, it expanded into the size of a house. This is C4, my most powerful explosive. It will detonate with enough force to level a village. I'll show you my art. Yeah, I'll show you art is a bang. Naruto stood his ground and the massive and homely thing fell to earth. It struck the ground about 20 feet from him and exploded. XXXXXXXXXX. Circling above, the wind from the explosion buffeted him and he had to adjust to keep from falling. Just the sight of such a magnificent explosion made him laugh and shout with glee. Yeah, this is art, he screamed to the heavens. It was only after he had done it that it suddenly occurred to him that the leader would be unhappy if the target was actually S. He suddenly worried about how angry the leader might be. But when the smoke cleared away, he saw he'd had no reason for concern. Naruto was still standing there surrounded by his three-tailed cloak. Your art's very pretty, but not really effective. Naruto shouted up. Now be a good little boy and go deliver that message before I decide to just KU. Deidara stared down at him, not believing that his most powerful attack had been useless. For a moment he thought about opening the mouth on his chest and feeding it clay. That really would be his ultimate attack, and his last. In the end he banked around and flew away. He would allow the leader to be the one to revenge Master Sasori. XXXXXXXXXX. Naruto headed back north to collect his new and tasty servant before beginning the trip back home. He was smiling to himself and already making plans on just how he would use his information. Here you are, sister, enjoy. Mocha handed her a plastic bag filled with a dark red liquid. Cocoa accepted it with an annoyed frown. Why do I have to drink from a transfusion pack? You were the one who wanted blood. Mocha reminded her pointedly. This is what we drank growing up, is it not good enough for you? She looked at her little sister questioningly. Have you taken blood from a person yet? No, Cocoa admitted, a little embarrassed. Mocha lifted a single eyebrow. Then what is the problem? Providing this blood without anyone noticing is no small feat. Well, it's just that Hinata smells so good and... Absolutely not, Mocha said sharply. She does not know our true nature. Like everyone else in this village, she believes us to be human. We are supposed to have what they call a bloodline limit, which will excuse a great deal, such as our auras and my red eyes. But were we to become known as blood drinkers, all sorts of problems would arise. Cocoa planted her fists on her hips and looked angry. That's another thing. Why do we have to hide what we really are? We're vampires. We are the elite of all monsters. We should be proud of that fact. Instead we hide it like it's some sort of dirty little secret. I feel no shame in what I am, Mocha said coolly. Nevertheless, the fact remains that openly proclaiming the fact would cause nothing but trouble. I've never had trouble telling people what I am. Mocha smiled knowingly. You have yet to fully develop your vampiric abilities or aura. Once you have, you may find things more difficult. If this place is so bad for vampires, then why stay? Cocoa demanded. You already know my reasons for being here. For him, the contempt in her voice caused Mocha to frown dangerously at her. If he loves you so much, how come he isn't even here? He is on a mission, Mocha said calmly. It is a simple fact that sometimes work causes separation. But when he returns, I will welcome him back and I will be happy. Couldn't you be happy living with your family again, Neeson? No. Mocha looked sympathetically at her sister but continued. I never felt even a scrap of love living there. The only person who has ever given me love is Naruto. I will not live apart from him. Why? How can he be so important to you? I don't understand. I know, Mocha said sadly. But perhaps one day you'll meet someone truly special and you will. Never. I will never ever let some man, especially some human, ever make me weak. You think my love makes me weak? Mocha shook her head. Just the opposite. The love we share is the source of my greatest strength. Just so long as I have him with me, I truly believe I can do anything. Cocoa stared at her beautiful and strong sister, unable to comprehend it. Couldn't she see what a weakness it was to let someone else have this kind of control over you? She tried to point it out, but her Neeson remained willfully blind. Well, when words fail. I want to have a spa. Mocha sighed. Her sister had really not changed at all. Very well, let's go to the dojo. 20 minutes later. We are done here. Mocha turned around to go. Wah, wait, I see can still fight. A bruised and battered Cocoa struggled to get back to her feet. In her hands she gripped a broadsword that was taller than she was. Despite swaying back and forth she glared at her sister. I will beat you. Mocha sighed. She knew all too well that words would be wasted, so she did not try to tell Cocoa to simply yield and spare herself unneeded pain. I am sure you will, sister, but not today. Moving like a blur she set her fist into her sister's face, holding nothing back. Cocoa went flying on the dojo's far wall. She hit and fell to the floor. This time she did not stir. Without a word Mocha left the dojo. XXXXXXXXXXX. When Hinata returned home from her rounds at the hospital she found Mocha in a normal mood and Cocoa a bit grumpy. When she tried to find out the reason, both girls declined to say anything. Cocoa did seem to perk up a bit when she sat down close to her. You have a wonderful scent, Cocoa suddenly said to her. I do, Hinata said in surprise. I have been busy in surgery most of the day, I haven't even showered. I must smell of blood and sweat. Exactly, Cocoa smiled, revealing her unusual teeth. Ha, please ignore my sister, Mocha said while sending Cocoa a warning look. Hey, yes, I was just being funny, Cocoa said. All right, Hinata didn't understand what was going on but decided to just go ahead. In any case, would the two of you like to go to a little party tonight? A party? Mocha asked curiously. What sort of party? Well, one of my friends is heading back to the front tomorrow. It's sort of a tradition that we girls get together and see her off with a night out at a club. Ooh, I've never been out clubbing. Cocoa said excitedly. You are only 13, you won't be going. Mocha said firmly. Actually, Hinata said, the laws of a ninja village are a bit different from most other places. Here a person is considered an adult once they receive their Hitaiite and become ninja. That usually happens at age 12. I'm sure that if you and I vouch for her no one will question it. Hinata assured. Oh come on Nissan. Cocoa implored. Hinata, Mocha said frowning. Why are you trying to corrupt my younger sister? I'm not, Hinata said. I just think that both of you could do with a night out. Neither of you ever seem to step outside the mansion. And Mocha, I've noticed you've been a little depressed since Naruto left. I thought this would cheer you up. What do you say? Cocoa turned to her with huge puppy eyes on the verge of tears. Please. Seeing Cocoa like that was far more frightening than her holding a broadsword. Very well. XXXXXXXXXXX. They were in a club called the Red Lantern. There was loud music blaring through overhead speakers and various colored lights were flashing on and off. The club was full and the dance floor was packed. Cocoa was in the middle of the throng dancing about with a savage joy. Despite her obvious youth, or because of it, she had already been approached by several men. She had sent them all away with either a few harsh words or a kick or two. Despite being hit on, Cocoa was clearly enjoying herself. The same could not be said for Mocha. She was sitting at a small round table with the 4 other girls. She sipped her Bloody Mary and eyed the other girls. There was Hinata, of course. She seemed to be very relaxed sitting back sipping on her white wine. There was Tenten. Mocha had only met her the one time at Hinata's wedding. She was dating Hinata's cousin and talking mostly with Hinata and grinning at the other 2. One of the other girls was the one about to return to the war. She had long pink hair and was pretty drunk by this point, having started drinking the second they arrived. She was in a sorrowful state, but not for the reason one would expect. She had hardly mentioned the fact she was returning to the front in Wind Country. Instead, all she wanted to talk about was the fact that Sasuke did not want her. Mocha looked at the pink-haired girl and shook her head in disgust. Naruto had once told her he would never care for her again. Those words had hurt her like nothing else, but she had refused to give up on him. In her opinion, Sakura needed to fight or walk away and begin again. To waste time drinking and feeling sorry for yourself was pointless. That meant the last girl was. Come on, forehead, you have to get over it, Ino said. Sasuke chose me over you. It's time to move on. You know, I hear Rock Lee really likes you. That bushy-browed freak. Sakura shuddered. I don't care if he is a jonin and one of the top taijutsu specialists. How could I ever love anyone else but Sasuke? Come on forehead, don't be that way. Ino patted her shoulder. You came in second, that's all there is to it. Shut up Ino pig, Sakura snapped. Hey, I'm trying to be nice forehead girl. Ino shouted right back. Ino pig, forehead girl. Ino pig, forehead girl. Enough. An annoyed Mocha stood and promptly hit them both on top of their heads. Ow, ow. Mocha stood glaring down at both girls. The two of you are behaving like children. If you are adults then behave like it. Who the hell are you to say that? Sakura said angrily. What would you know about having the boy you love reject you? Quite a lot actually, Mocha told her coldly. But unlike you I also had my feelings acknowledged by the one I loved. From what I've heard from your tedious argument Sasuke has never acknowledged your feelings. That's not so, Sakura said furious. Really? Then perhaps I have misunderstood. So Sasuke has kissed you? Held your hand? Taken you out on dates? Not exactly, Sakura admitted. She took another drink and emptied her glass. But that was only because he had trouble admitting his feelings to me. I see, and how long have you pursued him? Sakura looked down at her empty glass. 8 years. I see, I had no idea he was so shy. Hey you don't understand anything. Ino said. Sasuke is special. He's the most amazing man and incredible ninja. He's the last member of his clan and an incredibly deep and thoughtful person. Yes, he seemed quite thoughtful when he was trying to seduce me. And does he treat you with warmth and kindness? What? Ino stared at her. Does he treat you with warmth and kindness? Mocha repeated. When you are with him does he treat you like you are his greatest treasure? Well, Ino struggled to explain. Normally he would go, and try to ignore both of them. Tenten put in with a chuckle. Hey, whose side are you on? Ino demanded. You know it's true, Tenten grinned at her. Neji used to be like that too until I finally got through to him. So he ignores you and treats you coldly. Mocha chuckled. What a prize he is. Shut up. Ino screeched. Who the hell are you to talk? Look who you're married to. I am married to a man who loves me, is kind to me, and treasures me. Mocha replied. He's a monster. He is nothing but a monster. Ino was furious. Mocha smiled. Maybe he is, and so what? Monsters can love too. XXXXXXXXXXX. I'm sorry about tonight, Hinata said apologetically. I honestly thought it would be fun. They were back at the mansion having left not long after the argument. That is quite all right Hinata, Mocha assured her. Though I doubt I would have agreed in the first place had I known Ino would be there. Hinata sighed. Ino is usually not that bad, but, well Sasuke is sort of a special subject. Obviously, though I still have no idea why. Well, he has always been the tragic figure. And he was always seen as a genius and the best of the best as well. The fact he was so aloof only made him even more desirable to most girls. But not you though, Mocha said. Hinata grinned. No, never me, but then I was always considered a little weird. So far as I can tell you were the only sensible one. I imagine that you did seem strange. Sanity would seem strange to the insane. Hinata laughed a bit and wished Mocha a good night. Kokoa had already gone to bed and she had a full shift at the hospital tomorrow. As had become her habit since Naruto had left, Mocha decided to stay up and read a bit. So she was the only one awake when there was knock on the front door. XXXXXXXXXXX. Before leaving Naruto had put enough chakra into his clones to keep them active for a month. So even though he was away the estates were still fully guarded. So as she opened the door she knew the person had to have been passed through by the guards. She opened the door and there was the smiling face of her beloved. Well hello Mocha, Naruto said. Naruto-kun. She gave a shout of pure joy and leapt into his arms. She pressed her face to his end and took a deep breath. Naruto felt her suddenly stiffen and pull away. Something wrong Mocha-chan. She gave him a look that seemed to be pure evil. Wrong. She purred. What could be wrong my darling? She suddenly yanked him inside and shut the door. She pushed him roughly against the wall and pressed herself against him. I've missed you so, and I can't wait a second longer. Mocha-chan, he leaned forward eager to kiss her only to have her pull back. What's wrong? She wagged a finger in front of him. Now you bad boy, you know the rules, no kissing. Now take off your clothes. Ah, don't you want to go upstairs first? Her evil grin widened. No, we've done it here before. She deftly fell to her knees before him and began to run her fingertips along the inside of his thighs. Now take your clothes off and I'll do it the way you like. With an eager and hungry look on his face he quickly began to sts. You have no idea how much I want you right now. He soon stood completely before her, his eagerness on display. Still on her knees she smiled up at him. Shall I take care of you now? She teased. Yes, go ahead and do it. As you like, Uchiha Sasuke. She reared back and punched him with all her strength, at his weakest point. The scream that followed was enough to wake the S. In seconds both Hinata and Kokoa were there, along with 10 of the clone guards. What they saw was a livid Mocha standing over An and weeping Sasuke curled up and clutching his damaged body part. What happened here? Hinata asked. Hey you bastard, Kokoa demanded. Just what the hell were you trying to do? He came here disguised as Naruto, Mocha said with a mouse voice. He wanted to try and seduce me. Sasuke might have said something in his defense but was too busy weeping. Mocha looked to one of the guards. Take him to Konoha Hospital and as much as you want to don't K or hurt him. Wait, Hinata called as 2 guards lifted him roughly. Aren't you going to let him get dressed first? No, Mocha said angrily. I told him that if he ever tried anything like this again I would K him. The only reason I don't is that it would cause problems for Naruto with the village. As it is I'll settle for humiliating him, she smiled wickedly. And making sure he doesn't bleed. Hinata's mouth dropped open. You didn't. I certainly did. Given what he was trying to do it seemed a punishment to fit the crime. Hinata looked horrified but Kokoa laughed like it was the funniest joke ever told. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.